Welcome to Chopping It Up, a podcast powered by Journey, where we talk about freight, how people got to where they are, and their career journeys, pun intended. All right, let's chop it up. Hello, and welcome to Chopping It Up. Today, we have Amado Cruz, CEO and founder of Limitless Carriers. Amado, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Will, man. Pleasure's mine.
Awesome, dude. I had the opportunity to meet you through LinkedIn. Actually, you shot me a message, I believe it was fall of 2023, so almost a year ago now. And we hopped on a quick call. Yeah, got to know each other a little bit, and we've been able to do some work together since then. But it's been amazing getting to know you and your business.
Likewise, man. Likewise.
Dude, so it is National Truck Driver Appreciation Week. And when I started thinking about cool guests that we could have, I was like, man, we got to get Amado on here. Great story, great background. So we're looking forward to hearing more about your experience driving, your experience owning a trucking company. But before we get started, tell us your fun fact. What do you got for us?
My fun fact is that trucking moves 73% of all of America's freight. It's a pretty cool fact.
It is, man. We're not doing anything in our day-to-day without drivers.
Without trucks, yeah.
Absolutely not, man. So it's a really cool industry to work in, and really cool to realize, most of the things that we put our hands on a daily basis were on a truck at some point. So
we noticed how much trucks were needed during the pandemic. We were like,
oh yeah,
we need
it's
that.
real. Right. Exactly, man. You start to pay attention to some things that a lot of times, unfortunately, get ignored. So it's a big deal.
Exactly.
Awesome, man. So I would love to learn a little bit of your personal background. So just tell us early years of Amado, and then from there we can transition and start talking about when you got involved in trucking and things like that.
All right. Yeah. I mean, my nationality, I'm Dominican. I'm from Dominican Republic. I was born there. I then moved here when I was about 3 years old, 4. I'm guessing I kept going back and forth, but I stayed here when I was like 12. Like that's when we established here in New Jersey, in Bayonne, New Jersey. That's where we established. And then, went to high school there. I got into trucking when I was 18.
Nice.
I got into trucking when I was 18. I had my CDO at 18 in maybe 10 days. I was training with my neighbor who, till this day, I thank every day because he changed my life, showing me his paycheck. I was in front of my house. I wasn't really trying to do the college thing. I didn't know what I was going to do. I saw him doing very good in life. I was like, I wonder what this guy does. One day I asked him, hey, what do you do? I always ask people that. I stopped, but I used to be very curious. And then he told me, I'm a truck driver. I said, truck driver? What do you mean? And you have all this by being a truck driver? Okay. And he showed me his check. I'll never forget. He was $32.50. He was an owner operator.
Yeah.
Back then, that was a lot of money. That's like somebody bringing in probably $6,000 right now.
That's awesome.
That was clean after everything. I was like, wow, I need to do that. I was 17 in a few days. At 18, I got my CDO, and it took me a little bit to kind of get going because I couldn't get out of the state. So I was 21, so I had to work a lot of local jobs and, kind of get by. I did a lot of food deliveries. I worked with PFG, Performance Food Group, for a while, Roma Foods. I worked with them, so I was able to just kind of get on the road. Then I did cross country from 21 to like 25. Yeah. And that's why I branched out and started buying trucks from like that age. It used to be, it wasn't electronic logbooks, it was paper logs. So it was like a different game. Yeah. And I was able to go from not having a truck to buying my first truck, 2 trucks, 3 trucks, and so on.
That's awesome. I want to go back a little bit to the beginning, right before you decided to get your CDL and stuff like that. What did you want to do before you got into trucking?
Before I got into trucking, I was very, very close to becoming an electrician.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was about to do it. I actually was looking into the courses. It was a fun fact, fun job, and everybody that did it seemed to be all right. A few of my uncles are electricians, so it was something that I just kind of pick on quickly because I had already went with them to a few job sites, so I had an understanding of how it worked. But the minute I spoke to, his name's Robert, my neighbor Robert, I was like, no, I'm doing trucking, and I like to drive. Regardless of that. So it was something that fitted in. I didn't have a boss on top of me too, just all day telling me, hey, do this, do that. I don't really like to be led like that. So you just fell in perfectly.
That's awesome. Okay, so influenced by your neighbor, showed you the money he was making as an owner op, had a nice check, and you're like, all right, I need to get into trucking.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I'm supposed to be
Yes.
doing.
Exactly. Literally changed my life.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, talk to me a little bit about that first job that you had hauling for PFG. Were you a regional fleet driver doing like multi stop type stuff? Was it dry, reefer, container? Like, what were you hauling at that point?
All right. So PFG is actually dry and reefer, and all three at the same time, because the trailer is divided into three parts. One's for reefers, one's for medium temperature, and one's for produce, and then one's for dry goods. So you literally had to go in the reefer, pick up for each customer, and they sent me to the city a lot, New York City, and because I was young and they saw that I was so this is the guy, and then they gave me the route to the city, which I got used to. But at first it was hard. You had to find parking. You get like 100 tickets every week. It
Yeah,
was hard, but the experience with them of just pretty much working in the city, doing deliveries. I had to go to the basements. I had to stock up the for every customer. You got to stock up the goods. A lot of them were older because it was pizzeria, so you kind of feel bad and you did it just automatically. They
yeah.
gave you a little, you just did it, and it came like nature. And then yeah, that was an experience, man. I did that for 2 years.
Okay, so you did that until you were 20, 21. What do you think is the biggest thing you learned the first time around being a driver?
I learned how much stress you go through when you drive in a truck because you're pretty much responsible for yourself and for the cars. Because cars, I don't think a lot of people that drive a car understand how serious it is and how hard it is to stop a truck. It's
Yeah,
like a train on the road. You just don't. When you get caught off, you gotta be very on point. So I'm so into don't text and drive because you have to have your eyes just watching what's going on around you at all times. People miss their exit and then they just want to, and that's when accidents happen. So I noticed how stressful it was to deal with so much stuff going on around you. You just gotta always be on point. Like just be careful for
yeah,
yourself and also for the
yeah.
cars on the road.
Totally. Can you do me a solid real quick? I'm not sure exactly where the mic is, but if you could speak up just a little bit, I'm not sure if it's closer
Okay,
to the
okay,
camera, but I just want to make sure we get everything
probably.
well.
Yeah, let me get it closer. Let me know if it's good too. You hear me better now?
Yeah, yeah, and just if you keep it at that volume, it's helpful. I just
Okay.
want to make sure that when we go to edit it, it's really easy to hear everything and when we
Yeah.
cut stuff up. So, okay, so learned as a driver that that's a lot of responsibility. It can be stressful. I know I've never driven a truck, but when I got into freight, you just start paying attention differently to stuff on the road. And so I see that now because I've been in freight for 10 years and I'm like, you got to give these guys space. It's not easy. It's 80,000 pounds rumbling down the road. Like that's not a
Exactly.
four-door vehicle. It's, you got to be paying a lot of
Exactly.
attention.
Yeah, it's heavy, man, and you feel the weight when it's heavy. You going down the hill, it's you got to be careful, man. You gotta, and then cars cut you off in the hill with 80,000 pounds. It's like a rocket being interrupted by like a car. It's
Yeah.
not it's not a good experience. It happened to me a few times, and it's not something that. Thank God, I always thank God I never got into an accident. Not even a fender bender. I gave everybody space, and I was
Right.
never rushing. I'm not a rush guy. I'm a very chilled guy, but
Yeah.
you see that that's most of the accidents is pretty much the rush. You know what I mean?
Totally. I mean, you think about being precise and doing it the way it's supposed to be done. And if you're in a rush, you're likely cutting corners because you're trying to get something done faster than it should be.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
okay. So 2 years, 3 years hauling for PFG. What happened next? What was the next step for you?
So what happened next was this guy I knew. He was an owner operator. Robert introduced me to him years before I started working at PFG when I first got my license. He couldn't give me the opportunity because I couldn't go over the road, so I didn't fit in with what he wanted me to do. So what happened was I called him when I turned 21. I called him September 30th. I called him. Hey, listen, I'm finally done. I'm 21. Do you still have trucks? He said, yeah, actually, grew. He had more trucks, brand new trucks, beautiful fleet. His name was Fernando. So he was like, what are you trying to do? I said, I want to do over the road. And he's like, why? If you're a local, I was like, listen, my back is this is a lot for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to expand out of this job. And I started doing over the road. My first trip was to California. Well, Reno, Nevada, then to San Francisco.
Nice.
And then from San Francisco, I came back to Jersey. I remember I picked up a load in Amazon. Amazon was not the Amazon from today. It was just like books.
Yeah.
And I picked up pallets of books. And I always remember this, that Amazon now is Amazon. And
Right.
I looked at it like, oh, Amazon, okay. Like I saw the website, but now I think about it, it's like a different perspective to what Amazon is. But
Totally.
you saw it coming. Their warehouses were huge. I was like, wow, this is a lot of books. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, okay. But that was the first outside job after deliveries. It was pretty much like picking up, doing over the road, which wasn't easy, but it was a lot more chill than doing deliveries in the city. My life
Totally.
changed. I got more calm. Once you hit Iowa, Nevada, all those states are a different vibe. Like it's wow. I fell in love. I noticed how big America was. I
Totally.
was like, wow, like this is a big country. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you overlook that because you're in this little space in New Jersey and you go out, people hold the door for you. It's like, hey, how are you? They want to talk.
You're like, man,
Mind you,
what's going on? That's
what? Are you
crazy.
okay? Why are you
Yeah.
talking to me? Do I know
Yeah.
you? Because you have that New York. You're from Chicago, so you know it's
Yeah.
like, stay away. I'm in my own out there, Iowa, Nebraska. It's like a different. It's a difference. I'm going to retire in Utah. That's where I'm going to retire.
Oh
I feel like
man.
that's the most beautiful state in the country, in my opinion. I
Yeah.
feel those mountains, the lake in the middle. Listen, I really, it changed my mind. It changed who I am. It changed me because I started noticing how this works. Like it's like wow, like America's it's beautiful, man.
Yeah. A big country, a lot of perspective to be gained. I grew up in the city, and then you start traveling, you see different stuff, and you realize
Yes,
there's a lot of world.
a
There's a lot of things
lot.
to see.
Yes,
That's awesome,
a
man.
lot. Yeah, yeah.
So, biggest thing you learned becoming an over the road driver going nationally?
Biggest thing I learned, I believe, was besides experience, was knowledge. I wasn't the driver that talked on the phone. I started educating myself towards what I wanted in life. I obviously didn't just want to drive. I wanted to make something out of my career. So I started watching a lot of videos. When I had downtime, my 10 hour, I started reading books. How does this work? I got very curious. How is this freight getting behind my truck? Where's this coming from? How does it work? That's when logistics kind of kicked in. Oh, okay. There's
Yeah.
brokers. There's this. Brokers call you. Are you there yet? I'm like, why is this guy calling me? At first, afterwards, you kind of start noticing what's going on. So why is this guy calling me? Like, this is weird. And then I noticed that the guy told, oh, that's the brokers. They're gonna call you every time you stop. Blah blah blah. They had trackers. That's when
Right.
trackers first became available. That wasn't such a big thing till that's when it first hit. I was like, okay. And then he taught me knowledge, honestly. It was knowledge because I started, like, I wasn't around anybody. It was me, myself, and I. So you literally have time I even found myself, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was therapy, man. It was definitely therapy. And I miss it, honestly. I know it sounds crazy, but I miss it. Like, I
Yeah.
miss that piece. Like,
Yeah. How long were you an over the road driver for that fleet?
with him, I was there till I grew with him. So, I was there till I was like maybe 26.
Wow. So 6 years hauling there.
Yeah, 6 years. Yeah, I took breaks, 3 4 month breaks, because I
Mhm.
would go out. Like I'll go out over the road, not a week or two
Yeah.
out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
That's awesome. I remember when I first got into freight, you start booking with different organizations. So you've got your owner ops that you book, and then you've got your
yeah,
fleets and different stuff like that. And I would always build relationships with dispatchers and owners and drivers. And they would tell me about driver assignments. Sometimes you get like your favorite drivers that just love hauling. Like they're like, oh, tell me what else you got. And I'm like, man,
yeah,
this dude's
yeah.
been on the road for a minute, just like
For a
hauling.
minute,
Yeah.
yeah, it becomes like addictive. Like you're like okay, and then you don't see distance anymore. It's more like okay, I'll go there. Like me going to Cali was like me going to my house right now. Literally, I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I'll be there in 2. Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like
Yeah.
it was, and I look at it like, yo, I was really not alright in my mind. Like I'll go to Cali, like I'm taking a trip to my house. I'll get all my stuff,
Yeah.
go to Walmart real quick, get all my stuff ready, and then just take off. Like I'm going off the block and literally take my break, keep going. Take me 6 7 days, get there, 5 days, whatever. It depends if there was like a snowstorm or anything. But it was pretty crazy, man. It was definitely a good experience.
That's awesome, man. So, what year was this during that time that you were hauling over the road?
So this was, I'm 33, 26. This was probably 20. My math is not wrong. This was probably 20s, 2024,
It's got to be what, 2015, 2014?
2015, 16. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so interesting to think about the perspective you have now as an owner of a trucking company. You've got drivers that work with you and you've been a driver. What are some things that you think brokers or people that work with drivers don't understand that would be helpful for them to understand better? Someone that has been a driver.
Honestly, I have two perspectives because I was an over the road driver, so I know how that works. And then now my company is local. We don't go far. The most we go is 300 miles, 350 tops. We don't pass that. So I believe as an over the road driver, I don't think they understand the weather. Like when there's a snowstorm or if it's raining, I don't think they comprehend that that delays a truck.
Yeah.
For the first thing, for we were talking earlier, like safety is everything. So a guy hitting the road to get there fast, he might make it, but more than likely something's gonna happen. He's not gonna get there safely. When
Yeah.
it's snowing, when it's raining, like there's states that rains. Like I'm not talking about little rain, like rain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't think they understand that things happen. Like weather is such a traffic. Like they don't. I know everybody wants their freight, but I don't think they comprehend the nature of the matter of how much of a big deal it is to understand. Like he doesn't want to be late. Trust me,
Right.
things happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that's a big deal because if you've never been behind the wheel of a truck or you haven't spent, a bunch of time just asking questions to understand what's really going on the road, you're just looking at a computer screen going, okay, it's 750 miles and I expect you to be there in X amount of time. And that's not always the reality because there's something going on in between location and location, climate, weather, whatever it might be. Like things
And
do
nobody
change.
wants to be late. Nobody
No,
wants to be late. Nobody wants to be late. Nobody. I'm telling you, no driver. Guys, please hear me out. No driver wants to be late. Like that's not what they're in business for. Over the road. They're
totally.
not in business to be late. They could get turned around, have to wait till the next day to get unloaded or loaded. Nobody wants to be late. That's end of the story. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Also, I think, you probably have a different perspective on that now in terms of promptness, being on time, picking up freight and delivering it on time because you're looking at the P&L for your organization. And so if that driver
Yeah.
isn't, if you're not able to utilize that asset for the day, you're down for the week in terms of what you were projecting you'd be able to do. The driver doesn't make as much money. It's a big
It
deal.
creates a
So
domino effect.
yeah, it's huge. Okay. So driving for that organization until you were 26, 27, what was the next step for you?
When I left Framing, I had like 5 trucks. I had already started buying trucks. Like my second year, I had already bought my second truck because I drove for him for maybe a year, 8 months. Then I started driving for myself. Like he accepted owner operators.
Got it.
So I got my own truck, a Volvo, 2008. Named him the Panda.
The panda.
Yeah, because he was black and white.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then I bought a second truck, put him to do over the road. I remember it was my little cousin who got his CDL. He was working somewhere. He was unhappy. He started working with me. He still works with me. He's
Nice.
actually a dispatcher with me. And then he started working with me, and I got another one, and I just grew from there, from like 26, 27 to 33 now that I got where I'm at.
That's awesome. So let's talk about those early days putting together the cash to add to your fleet. That's no easy task, man. How did you figure that out? What happened?
I've always been a numbers guy. And what really, really helped me, besides being a numbers guy, was doing over the road. I had no time to spend money
Yeah,
at
helpful.
all.
Yeah,
All I did was work. And like when I told you earlier that I was a workaholic, it was like I was working and saving enough money that like if I wanted to just not get into trucking and say, okay, I need a few years off, I was set.
yeah,
But we're humans. We always want more. You know how it is.
of course.
So I saved enough money that like do whatever I wanted. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it was a different time. Trucking was different. It was just different. And running myself and four guys, the money that was coming in was pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? It was really good money. So what I did was I set up a plan. I said by this time I need to get off the truck to start exploring. And by the fifth truck, which was when I went solo, I did. I had already had my DOT, my MC, all my stuff, and that's when I went. You know, I went by myself. I hired a dispatcher, and just started doing it, improvising. Everything was never like a perfect plan. Everything was like
Yeah.
an improvisation of I did this. Oh, what if I do this? And things got added to the plan, and I just kept going to where I'm at right now.
I think it's important to note that it's good to have a plan. And you were in your truck driving saying, I have aspirations to build a business. I want to do something bigger than that, right?
Hmm.
But the way you get there, you need to be flexible with how that works. So, does that
Exactly.
mean saving some cash? I'm working extra to put it away to
Hmm.
grab my first truck, my second truck. Maybe that's owner ops. All right, cool. We are under this other MC. Cool. Now I
Hmm.
have my own MC. Okay, great. Are we doing over the road, regional? Are we going to do drayage? There's no perfect answer, but you need to be flexible getting to that end goal.
Yeah, even in me getting into drayage, I say this out loud. I've never been in a port, and I'm a drayage owner company. So
Yeah.
I'm a driver that's never done drayage, and I own a drayage company, which is funny. But I got
Yeah.
into it because of an opportunity. It was an opportunity. One time I went to do a delivery. It was in New Jersey, right by my house where I bought my house now. And I was like, hey, you guys need help with trucking? You know, you kind of selling. I always like to look nice, get off the truck,
Always.
you know. And then he's like, yeah, man, but we're only looking for drayage carriers. I was like, drayage, what's that?
Yeah. Like, what does that mean?
Anyway, okay, I kind of already knew what it was, but I wanted to be like more specific. Like, what do you need help with? And he's like, oh, getting those containers out of the ports is a little difficult. If I could just have 3 trucks dedicated to me, I would be so happy. I was like, here's my car, man. We'll talk.
Yeah.
Started doing my research. I called them in like 10 days. Hey, I'm ready.
That's
What do you
awesome.
need done? Yeah, I found out how to get chassis, how to get this. I signed up with the ports. And a lot of the guys, it was a lot more difficult to find over the road drivers than what it is to find local guys. Everybody wants to be home every day. That's the aspiration of a truck driver.
Right.
Some like the over the road, but out here in New Jersey, people love to be home. It's just how it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I started working with him. I still work with him, and I just took off from there.
That's awesome. So let's go back to when you got to five trucks. When you got to five trucks, you left hauling for the other fleet and started working with your MC number, your DOT number. That's when
Yes.
Limitless was born.
Yeah.
What year was that?
That was 20 2020, I think it was.
20,
Yeah.
crazy year to go ahead and
No,
get
yeah,
started.
yeah. 2019,
Okay.
I think. Because I was already running for like a year when everything started happening.
Yeah. Okay. So 2019. And when you started with those five trucks in 2019, what mode were y'all hauling before you got into drayage? Was it OTR, dry, reefer? What was the mode?
No, I always did dry. I never did reefer. I tried it once
Yeah.
with for not, but I didn't like it because it was night deliveries and it
Got
was
it.
very hectic. And then it was not really doing the maintenance on the reefer. It was just the deliveries, and they'll take hours. You know how it is. I know you
Yeah.
told me you have a little background doing reefers, so it was strong. I'm not doing this. This is too
Yeah.
much. This is a lot. And it was night shift always receives, daytime ships. I learned that afterwards, and that's why I understood. Oh, this is why we always had to deliver at night.
Right. Right. That makes a lot of sense. So
Hmm.
started over the road, dry. When did you transition from dry to drayage?
It wasn't long after. It was probably within the first 90 days. I
Oh,
was
cool.
ready. Yeah, we didn't last a long time on the over the road because I had the opportunity. The numbers were beautiful,
Yeah.
pretty much the same as going so far. I was like, this is a, you know, this is a go go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Some of the guys didn't have Twix, some of them did, and I became the dispatcher at that point, which is why I learned everything.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
obviously, I had a lot of people that I could call and ask questions. Hey, I met a lot of people on this years, and then I called, hey, how's this, how's that, and everybody was super helpful. So it was a pretty not an easy walk in the park because
Yeah.
per diem and demurrage were definitely something that was killing me. But once I got the hang of it, it just kept going.
That's awesome. So when you transition to run the fleet and build the drayage side of the business. You mentioned what got you into it. What helped you actually scale from 5 trucks to the, I'm not sure how many trucks y'all have today. How many are you running nowadays?
45.
So big jump,
Yeah.
10 times the fleet
Yeah.
size from what you had in
Yeah.
2019. What allowed you to go from 5 trucks to 40 in the drayage game?
Honestly, I became a very good salesman.
Okay.
Well, in my opinion, I
Yeah.
became very good at getting sales, and I feel like I was very lucky to find a team quickly. Like I found a dispatcher that was pretty good. My cousin wanted to get off the truck. I said, "Oh, come help me." I thought I was able to put a team together pretty quickly to have time to call and send emails. And there was a website I used to use, and I had an email list and kind of helped me grow. And then as far as the business go, I had a pretty good amount of capital saved up to just get a truck, finance, credit's perfect, finance. It just kept going. Like the more work I got, I would just go pick up the truck. Then the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
That was just crazy. That was like everybody grew. Everybody.
Yeah.
Whoever, I'm blessed that I grew during those times, and I was still able to grow a little more even now. Because after the pandemic, I was probably left with like 20 something trucks. Last year was a very bad year for us, and I thank God I'm blessed was able to grow significantly as well. So it was just a good plan put together, I guess.
Yeah, totally. So is your fleet today made up primarily of trucks that you went and bought and owner ops, a little bit of both, or is it all fleet? Is the fleet all assets that you've acquired over the years?
I have, as a base, we have 33 trucks. The
Nice.
rest are owner operators.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
but
awesome.
we are asset based 33 trucks, and the owner operators that run with me don't do drayage. We have another department that we run loads for Amazon, and that's like a
Oh,
different company in which I just run owner operators for that.
nice. What type of stuff do y'all do? Is it dry over the road?
Dry over the no, it's not over the road. It's regional.
Oh, okay,
It's just
cool.
regional Amazon dropping hooks and just fun stuff for Amazon.
The Limitless team is varied, right? You got a bunch of different stuff y'all are doing.
Yeah, we're doing a few things, man. We're definitely doing a few things. We're moving forward and doing a lot of different things. There's a lot of good things coming. Thank God. The plan is definitely put on play mode.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So I want to go back to building. You mentioned sales being really important. Obviously, this is something that I care about deeply. You and I have talked about sales quite a lot, and we do a lot of work here chatting with different organizations about how to build their sales funnel and how to continue to grow and scale their sales team. As the owner of the business, I always look at it as your chief responsibility being sales. If you're the
Of
person
course.
writing the checks, you're the person telling drivers or individuals that are employed by you that everything's going to be okay and we're going to continue to grow and the money's going to be there. You got to keep feeding that engine, pouring gasoline in there for it to grow. So, as someone that's done that from scratch, what do you think you just learned how to do in sales that helped you grow year over year? Because you can't grow a fleet without adding new business or new relationships to haul for.
Honestly, in sales, I feel like what really, really, really helped me was providing very good customer service, word of mouth. You know what I'm saying? Like, and people, like one guy would refer me to the other, and he just kept going. Like, I do a lot of tires, and it's a big industry,
Yeah.
very big industry. So it became word of mouth. Like one another guy would call me, the other guy would call me, and then it was like a perfect timing because everything in China was the tariffs and all that stuff was lower. So it was just like, okay, like I'll take it. You know what I'm saying? And then I
Yeah.
expanded to working with a few brokers. We do a lot of moves for them. But it was definitely just tires and being able to sell now that, okay, I'm moving this product quite significantly. Let me now move forward with other stuff and just doing sales is. I was just talking to a friend earlier, which I mentioned to you, and I told him, listen, sales, I am sales. I don't know how to tell you how I do it. I just kind of, that's my lifestyle. That's who I am. Just, I don't know how to, I can't break it down. It's just calls, emails, I just keep feeding and finding, and it's my phone. I don't know. People text me, call me, I have this, I have that.
Yeah.
That's who I am. Like Amado Cruz is sales for limitless. That's just, it
Totally.
became me without me noticing. And I dreamed of this one day, and now I realize, even talking to you, like I became a sales guy just left and right. That's what you know that when you work with these people, that you just become a magnet
Yeah.
because that's what you want, and it
I
worked for me.
mean, if you believe in what you're doing and you're actually able to execute that, so you've got like strong belief in what your team can do, and then you deliver that service, it's easy to be confident as a seller because you've got these proof points behind you. You're like, I've been doing this, right? Customers love what we're doing. And so it makes it easier to just have conversations and not have to be salesy. You're just talking about things that you've done. And your best sales examples are typically people that you've successfully worked with.
And you are doing it currently. It's not like you did it, you're about to do it. It's something you're doing every day. So when you speak to somebody, somebody told me this, you speak with confidence because it's pretty much what you're saying. You're telling them, hey, this is going to get done. Not, oh,
Yeah,
I'm going to find a carrier. Let me see. Say, hey, I got the team behind me. What do you want done?
100%. I think,
Happened yesterday, yeah.
yeah, what happened yesterday?
Oh, yesterday a guy called me. I have 20 containers LFD. I was like, oh, okay. What port? It was a pretty good port, Malport.
What does LFD mean?
Last free day. That
Got it.
means, when containers arrive, you have 4 days to pick it up, 4 days to return it. It was the
Yep.
last free day. Somebody dropped the ball on him. And we've been talking. This is another thing that happens quite often. We've been talking for maybe a year. So he called me like, hey, I know I didn't give you the lane. This guy was cheaper, but I have 20 containers LFD. Can you help me? And how many can you help me with? So I can't give you a number. Send me the list and let me see what I could do. We actually got all 20 out
No
by five
way.
o'clock. Yeah, yeah, because I had a lot of guys local yesterday. So it was like a perfect situation. He'll probably hear this podcast and he was just like, boom, boom, and things got done. They're in the yard getting delivered on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So
Yeah.
it was that happens a lot. Like you're in the right place, right time, you're able to execute the plan.
You know what's interesting about that though is if you hadn't had those conversations with him up to that point, when the opportunity presented itself, you wouldn't have gotten it. And I think it's really easy sometimes for people to get discouraged if they reach out to someone and they don't win the opportunity. Oh, the price isn't right, or we went with someone else, and they don't stay engaged. Timing, you can't really control that. It's out of your control. But
Yep,
being professional, being persistent, staying on top of it, and then executing when you get your chance, now that's going to be a customer for a long time because he sees what you're able to
exactly.
do. But if you didn't stay in touch, you never would have gotten that opportunity.
Exactly. He always say like, I don't. I've never taken business personal. Like right now, somebody could come to me and say, "Hey, listen, um, this is happening. We got to move on." I don't take it personal because this is a business. Like nobody should be taking money personal because everybody has to do what's best for them. Even let's say I have an employee and he or she is like, "Hey, I have to move on." You got to understand, everybody's out here to do better for themselves. I'm a
Of
perfect
course.
example. I was just a driver doing deliveries for PFG 10, 12 years ago. And today I'm running my show. And that's because nobody ever stopped me. Like, don't do that. I never got those feedbacks. And maybe I did, and I didn't even listen because it was irrelevant to me.
Good.
But I've always had people like, let's do it. My mom's a super hustler. I think I get it from her. She had a bar, a supermarket she saw recently. So it's
Oh,
in
man, I
me to
love
just
that.
keep going. I mentioned my uncles earlier. They're electricians. They're not just little electricians. They're electricians in the city doing big things. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I've always had this drive to make it. Like I was hungry to just. I don't think not making it was an option, and I still haven't made it. But I'm saying getting past certain points in life is a test. You can't for you to move forward. You got to pass every test that's given,
Man,
and I feel like that was pretty cool.
that's awesome. You've had some incredible people support you along the way, but also
Exactly.
you're willing to roll your sleeves up and do the work. And sometimes
Anytime, yeah.
that's the deciding factor if you're going to be
Yep.
successful or not. Like, are you
Yep.
just willing to work through the challenges? So that's awesome.
I feel like that's the most important thing, not giving up and just understanding that there's going to be challenges. You mentioned that earlier. We want this perfectly straight line of a plan. Listen, listen, you mentioned it to before to me. Well, you were the tech guy, you were this guy, you were everything. You're good with tech. They needed you. You're not going to call the IT. Listen, can you help me? This needs to get fixed right now. What we will do, it's fixed. Go, keep it moving.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's your nature. You get even better at it when it's something that has to be done. You get more creative. You lock in. Yesterday, I think I even dispatched because that's what had to be done.
Yeah.
Customer service, it has to be done. You can't just focus on one thing and just I'm gonna no. Like I would love to sit here and do sales all day. I would love to do that, but that's not the case. I don't think. yet. You know what I'm saying? I still need have a long way to go before I'm like, okay, I'm a sales guy. All I do is this. I'm
Right.
out traveling, getting business. That's not the sweet Cinderella story yet. You know what I'm saying? It
Yeah.
takes time to build that and get there.
Man, I respect it. I have a question for you because you've talked a lot about driver retention and building an environment to keep your drivers happy so that you can continue growing. What do you think you've been able to do that's different than competitors of yours that might have a lot of driver turnover or don't really retain drivers so they're constantly trying to fill that seat?
I believe, in my opinion, what's really gotten me here with drivers is I really, really understand them. Like it's a perfect. I understand what they're telling me is, and they know I understand. It's like a language. Like, hey, Amado, this has happened. I was like, yo, relax. I tell them how to act on the scenario because I lived it. I
Yeah.
felt it. So it's a lot different than somebody that just, okay, yeah, yeah, I'll call you right back. I know what they're saying. You know what I'm saying? So that's helped me a lot, and I feel like I'm a very reasonable guy. Like I pay very well to my guys. Like I don't want the whole cake. I let everybody eat. Everybody's happy, and I feel like that's helped me a lot significantly. Like all my drivers, most of them, you can never make everybody happy. Are always okay with, oh wow, thank you. I always give them that extra little
Yeah.
thing that makes people happy. You know what I'm saying? I'm a very reasonable guy and understand every scenario. I feel like the difference between me and a lot of other companies is, besides the fact that I'm a driver that I pay well, is that I really try to make this a family like oriented. Like you'll see me in the yard like I was last night putting things together. They see like, oh, this guy, they like that. You know what I'm saying? Like you get down, like you said, I play all positions. It's not just like, oh, I'm the boss. No, I get down with them and they understand that, they see it, and I feel like that's gotten me connected to them. If there's a big issue, they all have my phone number.
Yeah.
Hey, Amado. They don't call me often, but hey, Amado, this is not right. I'm not too happy. I fix it because, you need them too. Don't think it's just you. You know what I'm saying? And that whole turning drivers around, it gets frustrating every month. Another interview. Like I really love keeping the same guys.
Yeah, I think you just gave a masterclass there on leadership because you have to be willing to do what is asked and you can't be above anything as an owner or a leader in an organization. So if I need to be in the yard doing something to get it done so that we execute, I'm there. If I
That's
need to
it.
be answering the phones to make sure we're doing something customer service wise, yeah, I'm with that. And is that the norm every day? Of course not. But your team needs
No.
to see that and go, yep, this guy gets it.
Exactly. Exactly. And no, and people love to see the fact that you're working as hard as them. That's very important. A lot of people have this perspective that when you're a boss, that you're an owner, you're actually laid back sitting watching TV. And you know that. Well, a lot of people think that we're behind the scenes just relaxing. We just spoke about sales. We just spoke about operations. This all has to be done by the same guy. So
Yep.
we're never relaxing in the house or just taking it easy. It's
Nah.
actually very incredible job. I don't really have vacation. I have time off after 6 anywhere I'm at. I could be anywhere. After 6, that's when my brain sometimes gets to have dinner or whatever we're doing.
Yeah, owning a business, you're on 24/7. So it's tough. There's always a
It's
lot
a
of things.
lifestyle, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we get ready to wrap up here, man, I want to ask a couple final questions in terms of where you see yourself and Limitless growing. What type of aspirations do you have as you continue to grow? Super young, super successful. You've done some amazing things. What's on the horizon for you?
Honestly, my dream was to run 50 trucks when I started this. That was the number. I'm very, very, very close. So I'm very close to one of my biggest life achievements. But all of a sudden, it became 100. So,
Yeah.
you know,
All right.
I like that's next, man. Getting to 100 trucks is the new goal, and I know some guys out there running 1,200. There's some guys out there running one. It's possible, man. It's possible with a lot of work, and I'm always gonna emphasize the right team, man. If you have the right team, you could do anything in life. It just takes you and a couple of guys that are willing to kill it, understand who's who, everybody plays their position. You could do anything, man. We're in America. We're somewhere that everything is easier to do as far as just doing things right. So I'm always going to implement good team, good vibes, and you'll make it anywhere you want to be, man. And I feel like that's the next goal: 100 trucks, man.
Man, that's awesome and super inspiring. It's been really cool to get to know you, learn your story, learn your background. It's been a pleasure seeing you continue to grow and develop, and I look forward to seeing you continue to succeed. Final question here as we get ready to wrap up. What's your favorite book?
The Four Agreements, amazing book. It's that's a good book. The Four Agreement is just short, so like 178 pages. Everybody should read it.
That one is incredible. I've read it once. I need to pick it up again. It's a very
You
good book.
should. I
Yeah.
read it every 6 months, so my brain could refresh of
Yeah.
how things should be. In my
Yeah.
opinion, I'm not telling anybody to listen to it. It
Sure.
works for me, you know.
Yeah, I like it, man. Well, as we get ready to wrap up here, where are the best places for people to get in touch with you? LinkedIn, email, anything like that, if they want to learn more about Amado and Limitless.
Hey, so I have LinkedIn, Amado Cruz. I have an okay presence on LinkedIn. I'm
Yeah,
very active. My email is acruz@limitlesscarriers.com. And yeah, man, I'm not really a social media guy. My only thing is LinkedIn, and email me if you guys have any questions, any quotes, anything you need help with. We're here to help you.
beautiful. Well, if you're going to be in the industry that you're in, LinkedIn's the place to be. So definitely
Yeah,
stay present there. Really, really appreciate the time today. Thank you. Happy National Truck Driver Appreciation Week. We appreciate the insight as someone that's been in the truck and now building and scaling a successful trucking company. So thank you.
thank you so much, Will. Thank you so much for the time.
Awesome. We'll catch you later.